Alright guys, welcome to my preview and predictions for the 2014 Royal Rumble. Now before we begin, if you want to submit your predictions to the Smacktalks Prediction League, then you can do so using the link in the description, as it's a good time to join because the league's starting out fresh for the new year. As for last month's TLC predictions, only one user out of 193 entrants managed to correctly predict all of the matches, so congratulations to Bagels19 on his perfect score. Now on to the Royal Rumble. We start things off with a kickoff pre-show and a match for the tag team titles as Cody Rhodes and Goldust defend against the New Age Outlaws, who have stuck around this time after they returned at Old School Raw. Personally for me, I would love to see the Outlaws win this because I was a big fan of them back in the Attitude Era, so it's great to see them back on TV, plus it's good to see another team like the Outlaws adding depth to the tag team division, which it seems to be in a much better state these days. My only reservation is because this match is taking place on the pre-show, I'm kind of expecting to see Cody and Goldust retain, even though there's still rumours of one of them turning on the other one, which would then lead to a match at WrestleMania that they both wanted previously. But I don't know how this could happen. Maybe we'll see one of them make a mistake and that could cost them the tag team titles, and then later in the Rumble match see them try to eliminate each other, which would get with that point. But for now I'm going to go with Goldust and Cody retaining, so that's my prediction for the first match. Up next we have Daniel Bryan taking on Bray Wyatt in a singles match, which a few weeks back wouldn't have even been on the cards because Bryan joined the Wyatt family, but for whatever reason WWE decided to pull the plug on that angle and it had Bryan turn on the Wyatts. So how's this one gonna go? I don't really know. I did listen to a radio interview Bryan did earlier in the week, and I'll link you to that in the video description. And basically what Bryan said was that the Wyatt family angle was planned to go further, but it seemed to just come to a complete stop for whatever reason, and that he still thinks WWE is still trying to keep him down because they don't see money in him, even though he's the most overstar in the company and he gets the fans going more than anyone else on the entire roster. But you know, he brought up the fact that even though he is a big star, he still ends up losing a lot of matches that you would expect him to win, so maybe this is going to be the same case here, or we'll just get another run in and that'll cause a disqualification. As for my prediction, I'm going to go with a Bryan win, and that's pretty much just bring it close to the angle because they seem to abandon the plans that they did have, so maybe it's time to just move on and try something else in time for WrestleMania. The only thing that does make us question that is where it leaves Bray Wyatt, because I think a loss would actually hurt him a lot more than it would Daniel Bryan. Switching to the match between the Big Show and Brock Lesnar, and again I think this is another tough choice because for the first time we'll actually have Lesnar being made to look like the underdog as he goes up against the Giant and the Big Show, but I think maybe that could just be a ruse to put doubt in people's minds that he'll pick up the win, so my choice is going to be Lesnar to get the win here. As for how, I think it'll be a pretty close match, and because of the way that's been booked I can see Lesnar winning it on a fluke, maybe down to a distraction or something like that. That way Big Show still comes out of it strong as well, and we'll probably go on to see them both meet in the Royal Rumble match later in the night. So I'm going to go with Lesnar in this one, with a close win to reinforce his statement of being the #1 contender, even though that doesn't really mean too much if he doesn't win the Rumble later in the night. Next we'll have the match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship as Randy Orton defends against John Cena. Now whoever wins this, I've got to say I'm not really a fan of the way that it's been booked, because you've got Orton as the main guy and the face of the company as the undisputed champion, yet he always seems to come across second best. You know, that's not just because of the way that he lost to Kofi, but it's the way that he's made it look on TV, whether that's being talked down to by management or not being able to keep up with Cena on the mic, who, you know, I've actually liked his promos a lot more recently. I think he's really stepped up and made them a lot more interesting, especially when you go back to the promo where he seemed to go off cue and put the spotlight on Daniel Bryan. Meanwhile, in contrast, Orton's promos are still just as dull as ever, and you still see him slipping up and forgetting his lines or making mistakes on a weekly basis. But as for the winner, I think I'm going to go with the obvious choice, which is Orton, followed by Batista winning the Royal Rumble to set up a match between the former Evolution partners at WrestleMania. And as boring and predictable as that is, I think that's kind of what I'm expecting, so I'm going to go with Orton getting the win here, but I don't think it'll be a clean win. I can see Orton probably winning using heel tactics and maybe getting disqualified. As for Cena, I can't see him winning because I'm sure if they planned on giving him the Undisputed Championship they'd have already given the title to TLC instead of waiting for a rematch, and I can't really see who he'd face at WrestleMania for the title at this point, whereas Orton and Batista seems to be a feud that's tailor-made. So again, I'm going to go with Orton getting the win, but I would love to see Cena win this match before the Rumble match, as I think that would make the Rumble match itself much more interesting, because I wouldn't really be expecting Batista to win at that point. Speaking of the Royal Rumble, we may as well switch focus over to that match, and although I've already said that Batista is going to be my pick for the match, especially if Orton retains, the best thing about the Royal Rumble is that it's so much more than just who wins it, because it helps to set up a bunch of fresh rivalries, and it always has a few good spots in there that you remember regardless of who the eventual winner is. For example, we had Kofi's spot with the chair last year, John Morrison clinging to the wall and making it back to the ring in 2011, and so many other memorable moments over the years, not to mention that there's always the excitement to see which legend makes an appearance, of which this may be a spoiler, so mute the video for the next 15 to 20 seconds if you don't want to hear, but Wade Barrett announced on Twitter that he'd given up his spot to a legend, given the clue Voodoo, which could allude to Papa Shango being in the Rumble. Also this year, there's the possibility of Hulk Hogan, which I think would make an incredible moment if he was number 30. Even though I wouldn't want him to win the match, I just think it would be an incredible reaction from the crowd, and that could maybe set him up for a final WrestleMania match further down the line. On top of that, we'll have the journey of the number 1 entrant, CM Punk, so it's always good to see how far someone can go after entering at number 1, and I'm kind of expecting Punk to last near record time this year before he finally gets eliminated by The Shield, which I think is another good subplot because we can finally see them turn on each other, which could lead to a triple threat match between the three at WrestleMania, which would actually be part of my dream card. As for who will turn on who, I think we'll see Reigns dominate a lot of the Rumble and gain quite a few eliminations, so maybe we could see Rollins and Ambrose try to eliminate him. So there's a lot of good things to look forward to in the Royal Rumble match itself, and we still don't know if we'll see Daniel Bryan included, or if WWE are trying to keep him down and just have him in a singles match like he said in the interview. Then there's also Big Show and Lesnar who could collide following their singles match, and of course the return of the Animal Batista, who again is my pick, especially if Orton wins, as I think we're pretty much set for Batista win if Orton does win, as it's kind of the obvious choice and it gives them that match at WrestleMania between the two, because they have that whole history with Evolution, so I think that would be a decent match. It'd be something I'd probably like to watch. It's not my ideal WrestleMania main event, I would still love to see it somehow get to CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, but these are my predictions, so let me know what you think and what you're going with in the comments below. And if you want to, submit your predictions to the Smacktalks Prediction League using the link in the description, and I'll post the scores on Monday morning. So until next time, enjoy the Rumble, and I'll catch you later.